folks, this is Meredith from the Papery Craftery. Today I'm going to be sharing some quick tips and tricks for making quilling paper snowflakes. I'm going to be making mine just plain white today. This is 1/8 inch thick paper. For other supplies you're going to need glue. If you have one of the needle nose bottles, they are always helpful. You're also going to need whatever quilling tool you prefer. It will not matter on this project. I would also recommend having some craft tweezers if you have those. Also handy pins. Pins are really helpful when you're making quilling paper snowflakes. Also, you're going to need a work board, cork board, preferably with some wax paper on top. If you have just a thick piece of cardboard, that will work as well. You're also going to need a ruler, and if you have a small paintbrush to wipe away extra glue, that's a good idea. I also have a grid. I have it on my website. I will link to that down below. And some people prefer using these grids when they're making snowflakes because you can measure exactly how far apart your pieces are from each other. After you print this out, you can cut it to the size of your work board. You'll notice it has a center dot and about 1/2 inch squares radiating out of that. Some people also like to make circles on their grid, and that also helps them measure the layers of their snowflake. And when I talk about layers, it'll make sense in a minute once we start building this. So I have my grid printed out and I've cut it down to the size of my work board, and I'm putting my wax paper on top. If you're not familiar with why we use wax paper in quilling, it's because the quilling will come right off our wax paper on the end. We are not keeping the snowflake on the grid or on the wax paper at all. This is just for building purposes, so our glue doesn't stick to our surface. So I have that all pinned down. I have it all smoothed out as much as I can, and you can see that center dot in the middle, and that is going to be the center of my snowflake. So we're going to start building our shapes, and every snowflake in quilling is a series of repeated shapes. To start with, I'm going to be tearing my white quilling paper strips into 6-inch pieces. I need 6 different lengths of this same 6 inches. So I'm going to grab my ruler and just measure 6 inches and put the rest aside for the moment. And for this, again, I'm going to call them layers because I'm making different shapes. They're going to radiate out from the center of my guide. For this layer on my snowflake, I'm making the marquise shape, which means you're going to roll your strip up on whatever quilling tool you choose. Pull it off the tool, let it open up a little bit. I like to guide mine so they stay even just by holding it between my fingers like I just showed there. And then I'm going to add a dab of glue to keep my foil in place. And then for the marquise, all you're going to do is just give it a gentle pinch on both sides. Pinch. And that's it. Sort of looks like a cat eye, something along that size. And that is the shape I'm going to be using for the beginning of my snowflake. After I tear the other 5 strips into 6 pieces, or 6-inch pieces, excuse me, I'm going to make them into the same shape. And after they are all together, I'm going to start building the first layer of my snowflake. And these couldn't be simpler. It's just a matter of applying some glue to the bottom edge of these shapes, and then putting the next one right next door. It's going to sort of look like a little flower with 6 petals. And I'm going to try to keep it as close to the middle, that black dot, as I can. That's going to help me make sure that my snowflake stays nice and even. Remember, snowflakes are all about symmetry, and they're all about even pieces. So that's why the ruler comes in handy, and that's why the guide comes in handy. So keep going around, adding the rest of your pieces as you go and pinning them into place if you need to. I know a lot of people get a little nervous about the pins. You're not pinning through your quilling paper, you're pinning in the gaps where the paper is in the coils. So don't be afraid about that. This is just so everything stays in place. You are going to be removing these later. These are not going to stay there. It's just to keep everything from shifting around too much. And that is the first layer of the snowflake that we're going to be making. For the next layer, we're going to be using 6-inch strips again, but we're going to be making them into different shapes this time. And this shape actually needs 2 6-inch pieces for each shape. So tear 2 6-inch strips, and you're going to roll them up, starting the same way you did the last shape, all the way to the end. Whatever kind of quilling tool you like. I'm using the needle tool just because that's what I prefer for the most part. But if you want to do the slotted tool, that's totally fine. Get that off your tool and let it open up a bit. And then glue down your tail. And once you get that situated, you're going to be making this into a curved teardrop. So for the teardrop part, which comes first, you're going to give it a good pinch on one side. So it looks like, you know, a drop. And then you're going to go for the curved part. You can do this around your fingertip or around a tool. I find it easier around the handle of your quilling tool or a paintbrush, something like that. You're just going to hold the point and then give it a gentle bend around your tool. You don't want to smush it so much for this project that you lose your layers. You're just going to give it a good gentle push around so it gets that curve. I'm going to do the same thing again, just in case anybody needs to see that again. Roll it all the way up, take it off your tool, and add your glue to seal. Once you have your glue in place, you're going to give it a good pinch, and then you're going to grab whatever you are bending your teardrop around and give it a gentle push. Now, what we're going to do to make the shape for the layer is we're going to glue these 2 curved teardrops together. It's going to look sort of like a tiny heart or a little seashell or a palm leaf or something. But we're looking to, gonna take a couple minutes. If I wasn't doing this on the video here, I would just put this down on my board and let them dry together. But for time's sake, and to make it a little bit easier to see, I'm just trying to get this to set together while I'm holding it. There you go. That is the shape you're looking for. A little bit of glue on the top of the curve and a little bit of glue on the point, and put those 2 pieces together. Now I made 6 of those as well, because again, we're all about symmetry on this snowflake, and I'm going to glue them between the 2 marquees by putting a little bit of glue right where they would meet. And I want these to be as centered between them as possible. And I'm going to put a little pin through to keep it in place. And then I'm going to keep going around doing the same thing and just making sure that I like the placement before I pin them in place. Don't be too concerned if you need to move these a little bit here and there. That is fine. You'll have some wiggle room before your glue dries. The goal, again, just make them as even as you can. Get those pinned in place, and then we will move on to the next layer. For this step, we're going to be making 4-inch strips. And those are going to be rolled into teardrops. So just like we did for the last step, up until we start bending it over the tool. We're gonna roll this all the way, take it off and glue, and then give it one good pinch on the side, and that's gonna be your teardrop. This was 4 inches of paper, just to remind you, for this layer. And we're going to need 6 of these, just like we have been doing all along. And this layer is going to have a couple of other components to it as well. We're going to be making 2-inch teardrops as well. So I just tore my strip into 2 inches and I'm going to make the same exact shape as before. You're going to need 12 of these 2-inch teardrops all together. We're making 6 of the 4-inch and then 12 of the 2-inch. I love these little shapes. I don't know, the little tiny teardrops. I just think are so adorable every time. So after you make all of those pieces, we're going to put them together on our snowflake. And this time, it's a tiny bit trickier, but nothing too difficult. You just want to apply a very, very small amount of glue to the tip of that heart shape or palm leaf, whatever you would like to call that shape, and put your 4-inch teardrop on the end of that. And then we're going to add the little teardrops on either side of that. This is why quilling tweezers really come in handy, because the paper will stick to your fingers when you're putting these shapes on sometimes, and your pieces will go sliding around. So if you can, grab a small set of tweezers. I really didn't think I needed them for the first year or two that I was doing quilling, however long ago, and then I realized eventually that they are very, very helpful, and I have a bunch of pairs now. They're all over the place. Highly recommend. One of my favorite tools. Super, super helpful. So you're just going to go around your circle, adding your large teardrop to that point, and then adding your small teardrops to either side. While I'm waiting for that snowflake to dry, I just wanted to go over some other shapes that you could use when you start designing your own snowflakes. You can use coils, tight coils, or open ones. You can use very tight marquee where you only let that coil open a tiny bit before you pinch it. Large teardrops come in handy. Diamond shapes are really nice, and that's just making a marquee shape and then pinching it in the other direction as well, just to give your snowflake some sharper edges. They don't all have to be curved edges. Or even this kind of half moon shape as well. You can use any number of these in any combination that you wish. Remember, just like they say, no two snowflakes are alike. This is completely up to you. Sometimes snowflakes have a center shape and then pieces radiate around them, as opposed to what we did with the snowflake today and just start with a circle of shapes. It's completely up to you. You can pretty much put this together like a puzzle. But the most important thing is remembering that it's all about symmetry. Your snowflake should look the same from every direction. So here's the one we made with all of our pieces added on. It is dry and ready to do whatever you wish with it. You can change the colors of your snowflakes. I added some pale blue to the same design, and I've seen them pink. I've made them silver. You can do anything you wish to. You can make them super avant-garde, or you can make them more traditional. Here is one with that center shape with just some diamonds around it and kind of a similar edge as the one we made. Here's one that is almost entirely the same shape, mostly teardrops with a little bit of marquee in there. You can use straight lines and S curls and C curls and just some swirls if you want to. You can make these however you wish. If you are using the straight pieces, you want to make sure that they're double or quadruple thick to give some heft to it. You can seal them. I use Mod Podge when I seal my snowflakes and very gently brush that on. You can add a little hanger like I showed on my ornaments last video, and you can make these into ornaments or make a garland with them, tie them onto gifts or a gift bag. You can do all kinds of things with paper snowflakes. You could go a little crazy and add some glitter if you want to. I have holiday glitter here with some blue. The point is that you can make snowflakes in whatever way you want to. This is a perfect craft for the beginner quiller because once you just start making shapes, you just put them together in any way you wish and it will turn out beautifully. I hope you had some questions answered about snowflakes with this video. I will leave a link to that guide in the description box below with any other supplies or videos or links that you might need. Don't hesitate to ask any questions and I'll get back to them as soon as I can. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can hear about my next video as soon as it's released. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.